Hello, I'm Nikki P. I have a degree in film and I saw OPUS. It's a movie about a journalist played by Edebiri who gets invited to a music release party of sorts in the middle of the Utah desert, hosted by this pop singer played by John friggin' Malkovich, who has not just been working on this album, he's also been maintaining a bit of a cult, and AO and a bunch of other music journalists are going to have to contend with John Malkovich and his legion of cult members, and it might not be the easiest thing to leave this music release party, if you know what I'm saying. The big problem with OPUS is that it doesn't fundamentally understand how cults, or pop music for that matter, how either of those things work. There has to be something appealing. There has to be some seductive, alluring quality at the center of a cult. That's what ropes people in. And then before they know it, they have been indoctrinated and brainwashed. Same thing with pop music. I think that's the parallel the movie is trying to draw. Pop music can also be pretty insidious, but it's so catchy that we all hum along and we memorize the lyrics, and we have these parasocial relationships with pop idols, and before we know it, we're in a cult of our own. And that's a cool thing to make a movie about and to draw that parallel in a really stark way, but nothing in the movie is appealing. The cult isn't fun to be in. The music sounds like it's from a royalty-free soundtrack library. It doesn't make sense that people would give themselves over to this guy. And John Malkovich, like most of the people in this movie, is painfully miscast. I think maybe when this was being written, there was an idea of a much more performative pop star character in line with like Prince or Lady Gaga or something like that. And they got John Malkovich, but they didn't change the script, and now he's just kind of wearing these ill-fitting costumes and trying to do these routines that aren't in line with who he is as a performer. The cult really doesn't have a whole lot to offer. You sit down for lunch and everyone has to take a bite out of the same gross loaf of bread, or you've got to tend to the guests' pubic hairs.
So, how's the lady garden?
It's just, why would you want to be involved in this? And I know that's the question that everyone asks when they see a cult, but OPUS just fundamentally whiffs on why are people invested in this cult and this singer. This movie has a really great cast, and pretty much all of them are completely misused. Murray Bartlett, who we know as the master of awkward subtext from The White Lotus, all he has to do here is just nod and smile and not question any of the crazy things that are happening. He just loves this music for some reason. At one point, he suffers what looks like an absolutely life-threatening injury, and he just kind of dusts himself off and acts like nothing happened. Juliette Lewis, who's such a great, dangerous, rebellious presence on screen, she's doing exactly the same thing as Murray Bartlett, just clapping and laughing and enjoying herself, even though it's very clear that something is very wrong here. And then Edebiri, who is fantastic on The Bear, she's phenomenal at mining the little awkward bits and pieces from every interaction and conversation. Unfortunately, she's paired up with John Malkovich, who manages to find an extra syllable in every word he utters. Love John Malkovich too, but that's just how he talks. And when they're together, every scene feels 5 times longer than it should. One of my big cinematic pet peeves is when the art or the performance inside a movie doesn't live up to the character's reactions to it. And OPUS is like a feature-length version of this pet peeve. There are so many times where the characters are talking about how great of an artist John Malkovich is, or how much they love his music, or they're thrilled by his performances, and nothing we're seeing lines up with that. And the screenplay is just so insecure about what we're seeing. It's never intent to just let it sit in front of us, because I think it knows that it's not particularly good music, so we need to have the characters say it is as much as possible. Mark Anthony Green is a first-time writer-director, and I appreciate how much of a swing this is, but at the same time, it's kind of an uninspired mishmash of genres and ideas that have been done so much better by other movies. You know, see Midsommar, or even Vox Lux, which is not necessarily a great movie unto itself, but I think handles these ideas of fame and pop music and the insidiousness of that culture a lot better. Even if you're the biggest John Malkovich stan, this isn't doing him any favors. In fact, I think it exposes some of Malkovich's weaknesses as a performer. It's gonna be a no from me, dog. Until next time, I'm Nikki P. I have a degree in film. Bye for now.